Creative continuity. We bring the convention to you.
Creative continuity at the Great Philadelphia Comic Con with Kerrigan Mahan. What got you started in the wonderful world of acting?
Third grade, I played the general store proprietor in a Old West thing, and I realized in the third grade this is what I want to do. And so junior high, went from junior drama to senior drama, play production, and played Scrooge. Got 5 standing ovations, and I realized this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
Awesome.
And I never turned back from junior high school all the way into college. I didn't last long with the college scene, and then I started doing plays. I went to New York. I studied in LA, studied in New York, and did about, I don't know, a couple small roles in movies, some on-camera and TV shows, and then I kind of stepped into this voiceover thing by complete fluke. And I never turned back. From age 28, I've never had a regular job. There was a group of us that did anime, like it goes back to the days of Robotech.
All right, wow.
And Tony Oliver, who played the lead in Robotech, Rick Hunter. We all did a lot of stuff over the years from the mid-'80s. So, you know, Saban wasn't even in the picture.
Right.
We were doing all our work through other anime houses. And then Saban was kind of discovered in about 90, I think. He came over and he'd made his thing with music. And we did a lot of work for Hayam, many anime cartoons before Power Rangers. So Tony actually wound up on the producing end of things by the time Power Rangers came about, and the Power Rangers themselves all auditioned, of course. But our little troupe of actors, Tony literally assigned these roles to us. And we didn't think Goldar was going to be much of anything. And then, episode 17 hit, and he said, "You better get that voice straightened out because you're a big, huge character."
You did VR Troopers, correct?
Yeah.
Now, that was out right around the time of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I think we were doing them simultaneous.
Okay.
I think VR came in about 95.
Okay.
And I was still doing Goldar. I would record Goldar. Well, sometimes I would record Goldar and we'd go right into VR Troopers.
Wow.
I'd finish up whatever I had to do with Goldar. And if I was doing a VR Troopers, we would certainly do the VR Troopers first because there was no strain whatsoever with that voice. I mean, I just basically plugged Jack Nicholson into the dog.
War. Neither side is innocent.
You're still a traitor, you worthless piece.
We were children, asked to fight an intergalactic war against an enemy we'd never met. Let's stop pretending our side stood on some moral high ground.
I guess my overall take on it is kind of like, what are y'all doing? You don't own this. There's nothing to do with Saban it seems kind of like a nice lesson in futility. That's kind of my take on it. I just don't get it. I didn't get it.
Right.
You know? I don't know what the controversy was. I think it was taken down because they didn't own it.
Right.
You know, it was unsanctioned. You got to own the licensing to do that.
Right.
I mean, the fact that we get to come here and sign autographs and do the voice and everything, I think, the Saban camp kind of, we got no problem with that because it just furthers the popular aspects to the Power Rangers. So, but that thing apparently did not. I hear the new movie is going to be a little darker, and I hear that Goldar is a huge lead in it. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know what I'll have to do with it. I don't know.
Hal Gant signing off with Kerrigan Mahan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Right. All right, Hal Gant here. Creative continuity. Great Philadelphia Comic Con with Walter Jones, Black Ranger. Did you do your own stunts?
I did do a number of my own stunts. I mean, like, anytime you saw us fighting, we fought the putties and the bullies and occasionally, the monsters in their small form. But once they escalated to, like, super large size, then we had to go to Rangers, and then we had to go to Megazord, and then we had to go, you know,
right.
the whole thing. And, you know, so in the beginning, it was always us. First 15 minutes of every show was us as teenagers, and then eventually we went on to be our suited characters. And then to that point, it was usually, unless it was transitional, Japanese footage for the first season anyway.
Right. Did you take a martial arts discipline?
Oh, yeah. I studied Ishinryu as a kid. I was a Pee Wee Michigan State champion. So,
wow.
you know, I studied martial arts and you know, excelled and won like karate tournaments and kata tournaments and that kind of thing. And the training stuck with me because I had done it for a number of years. And when I came to Power Rangers, that was the only training I had, but it was still in my memory. You know, it was still, you know, I had muscle memory. So I hadn't trained for a while, but what I knew or what I learned was good enough for me to get the show. And then once I got on the show, then I was working with a bunch of different martial artists and, you know, our stunt coordinators, and everybody was really talented. And I just improved me as a martial artist because the other guys that are around me, they knew things, they do something, and I go, oh, show me that. Or I pick it up, I see it, and I would do it. And it just, I ended up having this variety of skills from different martial art forms. After the Rangers, I went on and got a black belt in Hapkido.
Wow. Now, in terms of your dancing, that was just a God-given talent?
No. I mean, I it's something I've done throughout my life. I mean, I was inspired by Michael Jackson and various other dancers, and you know, I started pop locking, you know, in high school. Kind of thing.
He still got it.
I was doing that, you know.
You better watch out.
And then I went to a school of performing arts. I studied jazz, tap, ballet, modern.
Wow.
You know, I learned the basics of dance. Which just gave me even more power and strength to walk out and be able to see something and go, okay, I understand what that pattern is. I know how the weight shifts and understand the complexities of breaking down a step. Same thing with martial arts. Martial arts is like a dance, you know. It's a series of combination moves that you put together and you do it with a certain flow and weight change, and you can make it effective.
Have you seen it?
It was a fan film, yes, I saw it, and it was kind of rated R. They were like, okay, we're going to take this, and in our imaginations, if Rangers who had to fight, you know, as children, and you know, battle these monsters, they have like some kind of PTSD, and it might flip them around and make them completely different. So this is from their mindset, and they just went far right with it as they could. Like, you know, they just took it like really dark. And gritty. And I got to say that it was well done. It was well budgeted. The acting was good. You know, the action was cool. It just wasn't really right for our fan base. Meaning, you know, and I don't think it was meant to be. It was meant to be this experiment you know, of what would it be like if we took this and took it over there. I mean, as an action genre show, it only makes sense that somebody would think, oh, that would be cool to take it really dark. But you know, again, we have a lot of kids that we cater to, and then we are role models for. So we don't necessarily want that to be out there for them. But then we have a lot of adult fans who look at that and go, man, that sounds gritty. I wouldn't want to watch that. You know, like that's my, you know, that's my nighttime, you know, late night. You know, that'd be my late night activity. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was well done. Just not really right for the majority of our fan base. Right.
Anything else we can look forward to seeing you in? Any big projects or anything? Any type of Rangers reunion of some kind?
Well, I mean, there's lots of possibilities. I mean, you know, obviously the Lionsgate film is coming up. We're hoping we get a cameo in that of some sort. We've yet to hear anything about it, but and there's a few other things that we got going on. I know a couple of different films that are out there that we intend to be working on sometime soon. I do a lot of looping, which is voiceover and post-production. So right now, the films that I've worked on that are out currently are Get Hard, Insurgent, and Running Out of Time. And I just did another one called Trumbo last week, which is about a writer, takes place in the 1947s. He was on the blacklist and actually ended up winning some Academy Awards through a different name, through an alias.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so,
that's
I do a number of things, man. And I'm also working on promoting a boxer, Cornelius Bundridge, K9 Bundridge. He's a fighter. Yeah, it's my boy from Detroit.
He was on a reality show.
He was on, he was on a reality show.
I like K9 a lot. I know exactly who you're talking about.
I'm with an organization. We promote his fights.
This is Harold Gant, Walter Jones,
That's me.
signing out.
Signing out. Peace.
Creative continuity here at the Great Philadelphia Comic Con with the legendary voice of Empress Rita from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Barbara Goodson.
After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer.
What got you started?
I always wanted to be an on-camera actor doing film and TV. And I was waiting tables, and I found out about this thing called Japanese cartoons dubbing, cartoon dubbing when I was doing a show. And I did this as a way to make money while I was waiting to become, Meryl Streep, right?
Right.
So it turned out that this became more lucrative, and voiceover in general became lucrative, and it kept me acting. And basically, as an actor, you want to be creative, and as a character actor, you want to do all different kinds of characters. So that's my voiceover career enabled me to do that, make a living, and also not get bored with just one character.
Okay, now how long did Rita had a run with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
This was almost 5 years, from 93 to 97.
Okay.
A little longer than that. And it was not expected at all. And I didn't think that I was coming back, because first I was fired once.
Wow.
Because they said the voice was too Wicked Witch of the West-ish. But that's how they directed me. They said, we want the voice like that. Then they said, well, it wasn't scary. The fans, or not fans, but there was a research thing that said, that's not scary. So they fired me, but they let me audition. And I was so pissed off that I came up with that voice.
Oh.
And
okay.
unbeknownst to me, I'd be doing it for 25 years.
Wow, wow. So you had no idea that the show was going to take off the way
No
it did?
way. No, I remember seeing this with my family back east, and them looking at it and saying, well, it's nice you had a gig. Happy for you.
Right.
Weird show, not going to make it. And none of us thought it would be, but the kids they were enamored by the whole thing.
Right. I was one of those kids at the time. So was this a difficult character, a heavy strain on the voice?
Not really. I know how to do diaphragmatic breathing. I know how to drink a lot of water and put a lot of air in there. And so, oddly enough, I don't get hoarse, really.
Wow.
I don't do it that. I would say after 2 hours of a session, I wouldn't do a longer session than that.
Wow.
There was one session that was for Universal Studios, the show there. And that, I lost my voice. It was 8 hours.
The whole Power Ranger experience was overall was a wonderful.
The friendships are still with me. We're all close. The guys that played Squat and Babu and Goldar.
All right.
And Lord Zed.
Right.
And Wendy Lee, who plays Scorpina. We're all buddies. We were young together, and we're still doing the same old stuff.
Yeah, right. And I see that you did the voice, was it Lady Talzin?
Mother Talzin.
Mother Talzin,
from,
Star
yes,
Wars, Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, yes. I won an award for that, Best Actor Award from Behind the Voices.
That was an awesome show.
I loved her.
You did it was a wonderful job on that character.
Thank you. Mother Talzin. Different than Rita.
There we go. See that?
Very European.
And that shows your acting range. It's very well done.
Well, there's a little bit of stuff I've done. Different little boy voices, little girl voices, crazy birds and things.
Now, how did this opportunity for Star Wars come about?
I just auditioned. I have a voice agent, and George Lucas was looking for a Romanian witch voice. And I'm from his era, and I kind of thought, Maria Ospinskaya from the black and white Wolfman movies. And I just put her in my thoughts as the character, and it clicked. He liked it, and I got the job.
Any more voice acting?
I just did something called Wolf, the Red Hood Diaries, which I played Granny for a interactive game as the Granny on a Red Riding Hood video game.
Okay, awesome.
There's something called Violetta where I'm playing Olga. That was like a dubbing job that's like an Argentinian Glee. It's a strange little career I have. It's obscure.
Argentinian Glee.
And I'm dubbing it into English for South Africa and England. And
Oh, so you stay pretty busy.
I'm a busy girl, yeah.
Oh,
I keep
okay.
and the on-camera stuff, I keep doing that too. Small things, little movies here and there.
All right. Harold Gant signing off with Barbara Goodson. Thank you. All right.
It's morphin' time. Say
Oh.
what you Tiger Group and Thundersword Tower.
All right.
Is that good?
Karen Ashley, how did you get the call to become the Yellow Ranger?
Oh man, you know what? I heard about a friend of mine, my friend Felicia. She told me there was an ad in the paper, and they were looking for 3 young teenagers that could be on a TV show for Power Rangers. I knew nothing about the show, and so I went. There were a few thousand people there.
Wow.
And I kind of was like, oh man. So I spent my whole Saturday waiting in line for my chance, and I had a quick 30 seconds of impress us. And so I did, the monologue they had, and I had to dance. And so it was funny because they had no music. I had music, but they were like, we don't have a radio. So, I mean, it was like they were trying to psych you out, but I did my thing. And so later they said, come back later in the afternoon. We want to tape you for producers, and we'll have music. I was like, okay, cool. So I came back, I did my thing again, and literally 3 days later, I got a phone call saying, can you come to LA? We'd like to fly you out to audition.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. And they're like, we're flying you tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And so we flew in, and literally the thousands, we found out that they were searching all over the country, New York, Atlanta, Orlando,
Wow.
Dallas, everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. And we, now it's about 15 people. And so we auditioned all day. And that afternoon, they put us all in a room, and they were like, you, and you got the part. And we lost our minds.
You did all the acting choreograph. You were your own stunt person?
No. I was very blessed. We were all blessed. The thing with Power Rangers is it came on every day. So we were always up against the clock as far as not having enough episodes turned into Fox. So we literally had 2 crews. There was a first unit crew that shot us. And so all the, out of costume or, standing in the costume in the command center kind of thing, we did. And then there was a separate crew shooting all day long that were the stunt team. And so they did, my stunt doubles made me look really good. But back then we got to have, we had civilian fights.
Okay.
So half the show, we would fight as ourselves, and then we'd morph, and then the stunt team would come in and they'd fight in the suits.
But I remember you guys fighting.
Yeah. As ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Any
so
injuries?
Fights,
Any a putty ever sneak you?
No, but I kicked a few putties in the head, and there was injuries on I'd miss my cue, and oops, sorry. So
wow.
No, for the most part, we were everybody would take it really seriously, and we would work really hard to make sure nobody got hurt.
There was a remake. I'm sure you may have seen on YouTube.
Yeah.
And very gritty.
Yeah.
It was shot very well. I got to give credit where.
It was amazing.
All right.
I honestly liked it. It's funny because people always go, oh, I don't know if you want to answer. I'm happy to answer the question. I thought it was amazing. I thought what they did was really cool. It was almost like Power Rangers' evil cousin or evil twin. It wasn't the cheesy, family-friendly Power Rangers we're used to. But I think a lot of the adult fans that were 5 and now are 30, they loved it. And I was one of those 12 million people that watched.
Right, as was I.
Yeah, so I felt like there were certain things that I don't feel like we didn't need all that edginess, because what was cool about our show is our fighting was the edgy part. But I loved it. I thought they did a great job. And, I think they're going to push Lionsgate in the way of making the new version
absolutely
edgier.
And you have this talk show.
Yes. Uncensored Talk.
How did that come about?
You know what's funny is I was traveling from city to city doing all these conventions, and I was like, man, that person's so cool, and that person's so cool, and oh my God, that's an icon. I'm like the fans. I meet people that I've looked up to, and I kept going, somebody should be talking to them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why aren't you talking to them? And I was at the time doing a radio show called Uncensored Radio, and so I was going to leave the radio show, and I said, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for me to leave and kind of transition into Uncensored Talk. And it's really become a cool thing, because the reality is we hang out, we get to meet all these, other celebrities. that are amazing people, and we get to hang out with them, you know, for a weekend, and we become really good friends. You see people over and over, and they are a little more uncensored when they sit down with me because they feel like, oh, you're one of our peers. And so I ask them crazy questions, and we have fun, and it really, I wanted it to be a situation where the guy in wherever who can't come to a convention actually gets to have a little bit of a convention. They get to be kind of a part of it. They see us walking around, they see the things that we do. I've talked to a lot of Rangers, and the fans really enjoy it because they kind of get a different side of, you know, they see this hero and they have this idea of who we were, but then they actually get to meet us, and they, you know, it works out.
Right.
Here at Power Morphicon, I am in Orlando, Florida, at Ranger Stop. I'm at Rhode
Any thoughts
Island
in
Comic-Con.
like a big Power Ranger reunion?
You know,
would the fans ever see that?
I would love for the fans to see that. I hope that one day Saban can figure it out. I mean, there have been times that they've hinted to that, or, you know, they're doing a new movie and people have been talking about possibly having us in it. I don't know. Nothing has panned out, but I hope for no other reason that they can figure it out so that the fans get what they've wanted for 20 plus years.
Right.
I mean, there isn't a weekend that I'm not in a different city that someone doesn't come up and go, can we just get the band back? Can we see the OGs?
Right. There we go.
The OG Mighty Morphin cast together. Can we make it happen? I'm trying. So who knows? Morphin time.
All right,
Peace
Harold
out,
Gant,
people.
signing off with Karen Ashley. Harold Gant with Creative Continuity at the Great Philadelphia Comic Con with David Fielding, the legendary voice of Zordon from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. What got you started in this wonderful world of acting?
I've always been sort of like a gregarious child. Got into acting early. I knew right away in high school that that's really what I wanted to do. So I went to college. I have a BFA and an MFA in acting. Shortly after I got my MFA, I moved to Los Angeles. Had only been living there for about a month and a half when I had a phone call from a friend who worked at Saban on some other projects they were doing, saying that they were looking for this character that they wanted to do for a kids television pilot that they were looking to pitch. She thought I might be very good for it, so I thought, why not? That's why I'm here. Figuring that it was going to be just another cattle call audition. You know, you go down 500 other people,
Right.
read a couple of lines, go home and never hear anything. Well, when I got down to the Saban building, there was only 2 other people there, and I found out that they were looking to cast that day, and they were going to like film the pilot like the following week. So we both sort of separated into separate corners in the room we were in. He was doing his thing over there, and I was doing my thing. They took him in first. He was in there for 20, 25 minutes, and he came out, and then I came in. I met the original cast. I met the writers, the director, the producers, and they had me stand up on a table, and I went through the script, read the lines, and I remember Austin St. John turning to everybody saying, well, I think we found our Zoltar, which was the name of the character at the time. And then I went home, and a couple hours later I got the phone call saying I got the part.
Awesome.
And a week later I was sitting in a makeup chair, and they shaved all my hair off and painted me green, and they filmed me for like 4.5 hours.
Okay. And so it was 4.5 hours every filming session?
No, they only filmed the character one time. Which was very good for them business-wise, but it sucked for me as an actor. So all the footage that they used throughout the life of the character for 6 seasons or whatever, they just recycled it over and over.
So I guess you were only on set once?
Yeah, I was I met the original cast, the audition, and I met them the day that we filmed. But after that, I never ran into them. I visited the Juice Bar set one time, but they weren't there. They were off filming somewhere else. But I did run into Barbara Goodson and Kerrigan Mahan in the recording studio when we were doing voiceovers, and a couple of the other actors, Paul Schreier, who plays Bulk. But we never really crossed paths. So it was very disappointing from an acting standpoint to be a part of something like this, but not to feel very connected to it.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate because
Yeah.
the fans, we all kind of just thought that
Yeah.
Zordon was in every episode.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Some fans think that, you know, we lived in the same neighborhood and like went to dinner parties together and stuff like that. But it's like, I lost touch with them. This past August, I was at Power Morphicon for the first time, And that was the first time that I'd seen Austin, Walter, and David in like 20 years.
So I see that you're part of a no hate campaign. Now,
Yep.
What exactly is that?
No Hate is a campaign that was started by Adam Buska as a anti-discrimination, anti-bullying campaign, which I'm very a strong supporter of. And I think that's a message that's in the show as well, that just to be kind to people and don't judge them for whatever aspect of life that they're going through, and to stand up for each other and to be kind. So that's something I'm fully supportive of.
There was this controversial, all over YouTube, was this remake of the Power Rangers
Yep.
movie. It was very gritty, very violent. The action to me was very good.
Yep.
And I mean, it was filmed very well, but it was also very inappropriate for a child to watch.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I saw it myself. I saw both versions of it. I saw the not safe for work version and the edited version after that. And while the teenager in me was like, "Wow, that's really cool," because it was done very well.
Very well, yeah.
It was filmed very well. I really enjoyed some of the shots, the way it was all put together. Very professional. But at the end of the day, it's not Power Rangers. Part of the thing about Power Rangers is that it has this goofy, cheesy quality to it, and at the end of the day, it's supposed to be uplifting and positive. So while I appreciated the work and everything they did for it, at the end of the day, it's not Power Rangers. So,
Right.
but other Rangers have said this before. If like an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old is searching for Power Rangers on YouTube and this thing pops up,
My God.
it can get very sort of disconcerting for them.
Creative continuity with David Fielding signing off. Harold Gann here at the Great Philadelphia Comic Con with Austin St. John.
What's
the
up, man?
Red Rangers.
I didn't know about the fandom until about a year ago when I came back from the Middle East. I retired from overseas. And Walter, I was on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border, actually talking to Walter on the phone. Walter Jones, the Black Ranger. And I was like, man, I'm 4 years in the Middle East. I'm coming home. I'm tired. He's like, well, you're not going to believe what I'm doing. And he told me about this. And I thought it was insane. I was like, it's been 20 years. Who cares? I don't think they care. Who's going to care anymore?
Wow, man.
And I was wrong because all of y'all still care. And so I came back, and for a year now, one show, I was going to do one convention. Turned into 22 conventions and a global tour. You guys got me back in the movie business. Now I'm executive producing a movie. I've got four other films I'm putting together. I've got a series I'm putting together. So the next 2 years, if you're on my social media, you're about to see all kinds of announcements.
That's awesome.
And that's all because of you guys.
I heard that you quit high school and went into full-time acting. Is that?
Yeah. I was a high school kid with attitude. I dropped out of high school to take the job, to be a high school kid with attitude. And then after the show, I got my GED, and then I went and got my bachelor's, and then I got another degree in emergency medicine. So.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you came back to the show a couple times. At one point, I think you came back as a bad guy, right?
I came back as a Gold Ranger. I came back for Forever Red. And then in the movie, Turbo, my character Jason turned evil.
So you were saying you're not training no more, or are you currently training?
I just got back to training about a month ago.
Okay.
So right now I'm doing 2-a-days. So CrossFit, PT, a lot of calisthenics, getting in shape for the movies I've got coming up. And I'm still working out some kinks. I broke some stuff pretty hard, but I'm gonna do it.
All right, now what was your first martial art discipline?
My very first was judo.
Judo.
So, and then I got into Kenpo with my father and stuff like that, but judo was my very first.
Okay. So judo into Kenpo, was there anything else besides that?
My dad was a Marine. We moved constantly. So every time we move, I would find a new studio. And I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to be studying.
Right.
I had martial arts ADD because we moved. So,
Right.
I mean, I went through a ton of arts. I got my hands on a lot of different knowledge. A lot of knowledge from a lot of different arts. So probably 17, 18 arts I've had my hands on in some form, fashion, or another.
All right, well, that's awesome.
So,
And
for
even-
different time frames.
Even on TV, it comes across, your character, you seem to be a very determined, disciplined guy. Even when, and how old were you when you started?
17.
17, so you look very disciplined even then.
Yeah, like I said, I had a Marine dad. My mom was the first female cop in the city of Roswell.
Oh, wow.
Roswell, New Mexico. So I came from a family that knew how to get it done.
Right.
And they didn't play around.
Sounds like it.
When I set my mind to it, you better either get with it or get out of the way.
As you know, there was on YouTube the controversial remake of the Rangers. It was very gritty. Have you seen it?
Yeah. I wasn't going to put anything up on it for quite some time. A lot of the Rangers had made their comments on it and stuff, and I like to let the hype go by. I'm not into hype. But I got hounded so much on my page.
Right.
People were like, "What's your opinion?" And so I pretty much left my personal opinion on it out, because what I saw visually was a well-executed, extremely well put together, well-directed, well-acted piece of work.
Right.
And I had to respect that that man had his vision.
Right.
And just like any one of us has a right to have our own vision, he not only had his, but he made it a reality, and he put it together. And that takes strength.
Right, it does.
And he did it well. It looked great. Visually, everything about it was very well done. Do I agree personally with Zack doing cocaine and people getting shot in the head?
Right.
That's not my personal vision.
Right.
But I'm not going to damn it because that was his vision.
Right.
And he's got a right to have his own vision.
Okay.
So I'm not going to put heat on him. It's not how I would have done it, but I can respect what he did.
Hospitals in Hong Kong are running low on medicine to fight a bad flu outbreak, and it might be a week before they get new supplies.
Game's over.
But as CCTV's Kathy Yang reports, the city is telling people there is no cause for alarm.
Not another step, young lady.
I am scared.
I know.
It's a post-apocalyptic kind of thriller. It's called Survival's End of the world. Virus knocks out 90% of the world's population. People are struggling to survive, and there's some horrible twists in there. It's going to be a really good thriller. And I was just talking with the director. We are going to do an alternate ending for the fans. So we're going to do his true vision, because he wrote it, and keep it clean. But then we're going to do at the end, I can't tell you what happens at the end.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you it's intense.
Awesome.
And we're gonna put together a whole fight scene
at
the end, just so that the fans can see that I still got it.
That's what's up. That's what we want to see too. And how can we find out more information about that?
Go to my Facebook page.
Okay.
If you Google me, go to Austin St. John, or my Twitter account, ASJ Austin, and or go to Survival's End on Facebook. That's the actual Facebook page we've got up. And you can find all sorts of information, links to my YouTube, where I've done teasers and survival videos. You can see all sorts of information I've got out there for it. So you should definitely check it out. This is Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger. I'm here from Herald. We are talking about creative continuity, because you know what you're watching right now. And we're about to piece out this joint because we just did it. We just got it done.
Morphin' time, sucker.